I've announced on the channel that I took advantage of a traffic vulnerable person reenacting this, and it made them relive it, and it probably traumatized that person. I completely agree with that. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. I took advantage. I took advantage. I took advantage. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. I took advantage. I took advantage. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it.
Hi.
Hello, Miss Chrissy. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I've been awesome ever since you told me that you were gonna come and return. It definitely got me excited. I'm sorry to hear about your partner. You did let us know earlier in the week, and hopefully he's recovering.
He's on the mend. Just got to take it easy.
Right.
A month off of work.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's what you get for being an adrenaline junkie. Chugging himself off of trails on a mountain bike.
Serious injuries, but I'm glad he's recovering, and it's not any worse than it could have been, for sure, given the circumstance. Yeah. So, Miss Chrissy, how have you been the last couple of weeks? It's been, 3 weeks since we last spoke?
Yeah, well, I sent you all of the I sent you some of the CCTV images over, didn't I?
Right.
Of Atwood and stuff, because I couldn't make one of your chats. So so I emailed you some of those bits and pieces over, didn't I?
Yeah, and I still have them, and I can play them.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sorry. Let me. You are not coming in. I'm gonna have to fidget with this. I don't know what's going on here. I'm gonna have to fidget with the settings. For whatever reason, it's not playing, and the folks are not listening online. I thought I had all this set up. I'm sorry.
No worries. So how is it over in the States?
Beautiful day, real hot. Beach weather.
It's been nice here, actually.
Yeah, it's
lovely.
Let's see, speaker, gaming headset, should be on. Let me see, are you okay? You know what, let's see, it should be, that's why, okay. Let's see, gaming headset. Now, okay, everyone in the live, can you speak, Miss Chrissy?
Hey, can you hear me?
Okay. Everyone, all right, in the live chat, can you guys hear that? Give me a thumbs up. And
hello?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Miss Chrissy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like the audio is working just fine now.
Oh,
and
good.
We are good to go.
Excellent.
Okay, so you were on, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I think, was it 3 weeks ago today?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And you did let us know that we would do a part 2, and so here we are. There was people that were doubting it, but I never did. We kept the communication lines open, and what I told people was that life happens, and I
It does,
never
yeah.
gave them any personal information as to why, what was going on. It's none of people's business, but I just simply
No.
let them know that it's life happens, and that
Yeah,
takes
it
precedent
does.
over everything else at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I manage quite a big organisation. I've got 2 children. So in between working, I'm homeschooling. Well, now I have 3 children because of Matt's injury, of course, but hey ho.
Right.
But life's calmed down somewhat since we have the flat back, since the flat's been cleaned. Yeah,
Is it now rented? Were you able to rent it out?
Yeah, we can. So some of the other residents in that block had their eye on it, so we've just literally just gutted it, painted it, just carpeted it, fumigated it. And some of the guys have passed by and said, oh, I really, really like it, and their lease is up, so they've asked if they can go in. So I mean, it's in a fantastic location, so it will not be a problem and we trust these guys. They've we've lived in that block with them a long time ago. They've been there for ages, so they are good people, and they're loving life. But number 7 is now empty.
Right. Yeah, it's been, some interesting events have transpired in the last week. I did mention it last night. We don't know. I had Brian Harvey on. Shout out to Brian Harvey. He helped push the story as well, so it's awesome to have someone, with a big voice like his talking about the story. And, when I had Brian Harvey on last weekend, we were kind of speculating that maybe Cali was behind bars or something was going on. And I know, you, myself, and the Craig, we've also been chit-chatting with what has Cali been up to? Is she locked up? I mean,
Wow. I'm not. I would have thought that she would have gone on remand after receiving the jury have come back and decided that she's guilty. I would have thought at that point she would have been put on remand. Right. But as we all know, Cali is devious, manipulative. She's a bullshitter, and she is vulnerable. And she's not all the ticket. So whether she's got to have psychiatric assessments or, before. Because I've got some details to say that the first time she attended court for this offence was the 23rd of September 2009. So it's been going on for quite some time, and there's been pre-sentence reports. So I would have thought that any psychiatric reports would have gone in with the pre-sentencing reports. But she's Jackanory. She likes to tell a story. So she has all these, appointments that she says she's got to go to because of what's been done to her. So who knows? Word is that she's out and doesn't get sentenced until April, and that she has been found guilty of death by dangerous driving.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I mentioned this last time we spoke, that I had somewhat of a interesting relationship. We did have somewhat of a. If I had to ask her a question, she would be pretty quick in getting back to me, whether she was in a good mood or if she just wanted to yell at me and cuss me out. She was usually pretty good about getting back to me. And, after we hadn't received anything, the very last communications I had with Cali was she messaged me and she wanted me to tell everyone that she did not steal the bed. Her last words, it's pretty funny, someone's like drowning and or about to get locked away, and their very last words are like, let them know it wasn't it wasn't a bed, it was a couch. She sent me a picture of the couch that she
Yeah.
purchased, it clearly is a mattress. It's not a couch by any stretch of the imag. Even the picture she sent me, I tried to match it up. It's not a
Yeah.
goddamn couch. It's a
No.
freaking mattress at the end of the day. But I just thought it was funny that, instead of saying anything else, her last words, she wanted to clear the record that the mattress that we saw. You know what? I'm gonna play it right now on the screen as we chit chat. But it's just it's it's interesting that that would be her last words. And the same thing. She never denied uh, really anything of the CCTV footage that I played. If anything, she was just talking about the color.
Susie, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
don't know what happened there. Hi, sorry, I missed that bit.
No, I was just saying that she never really denied anything about the CCTV footage, which was interesting, I thought.
Yeah. Well, they said that, did Atwood say that he hadn't seen her for a while, and apparently he put out a statement saying you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, or something along those lines. It's just a bit. I'd really like to know exactly what the whole situ was, because he would have been involved with her. Like he said that he's known her for 2 years. Well, if this incident happened around the 23rd of September 2019, Atwood must have been a part of her life then.
Yeah.
And apparently there's she was arrested for Class A drugs with intent to supply. Now this is just what I've heard. I don't know if it's fact, but yeah, it's just funny old carry on. And I mention that I found Cali had left a diary in the flat that had some of her punters' times, telephone numbers, various different emails, passwords for her adult work. Yeah, there was some strange old stuff in there. Actually, it would indicate that she was subletting one of the rooms, and it would indicate that wasn't the only property as well.
Right. Yeah, you did. I don't know if you mentioned it last time around, but you did let us know. You had found notebooks with all this information, and it's your opinion that she was working out of the flat. In other words.
Oh yeah. So she's got an email with her adult work. So she's got an adult work email. So that must have been what she was putting out to the punters to contact her. But I don't know why she hasn't been in contact with you, because usually she's always trying to contact you, isn't she?
Yeah, and there was times where I felt she was giving me a little bit of truth. Maybe her fun times with Shaun had finished and maybe she was ready to speak up. But then there was other times where it was deliberate misinformation to send us a different path. I don't know if you've caught up with anything that I've been covering the last couple of weeks, but we just uncovered a person that was acting like she was close to us and helping us out. And now we just found out she's all part of a huge disinformation campaign. She's trying to get me to fight with Brian Harvey. She'll make videos and I'm not 100% sure if she's 100% batshit crazy or if this is part of her job. It's just so freaking. She called last night, and I got her tripping up. I was asking her questions. Hey, are you this person? Are you that person? And I caught her tripping up pretty good. It's a classic times, but this whole thing from start to finish has been a giant shit show. And I'm still trying to piece it together. I never have claimed that I know exactly what's going on, for what reason. It's just so many weird things just keep happening over and over.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I just, Shaun Atwood was caught bang to rights, sniffing cocaine, and with Cali about to perform oral sex on him, dressed up or as he put it, a maid's outfit. She was wearing, well, she was calling him daddy. It's, it's plain to see. So, I'm just intrigued. I'd like to know the whole setup, because I can only think that he's just used her to his advantage. Like, she's going to make him that money back from the GoFundMe because he's put her in there so she can sell herself. She obviously knows what she's doing. And her coming from the West Country, how is she going to have the contacts to buy cocaine locally? And who is putting her in touch with these contacts when, like I said, the first time that we met her, she looked like she had been up for days, obviously taking cocaine. She looked wired. And like I said before, I walked away thinking there's no way she's starting a job this Monday. Like, the flat was she had boxes everywhere. It was just so too unmanageable to be able to get ready and get your head into a new job. So yeah, they had an intention, a dodgy intention from the beginning.
Well, let's recap. That you were under the impression that Cali was going to be hired, right?
So he's got a publishing company, and it was all done so quickly, or overnight, and we got a reference from Wright Publishing Company to say she'd be on 30k a year. She starts work on Monday. She had a passport. I don't know if I told you before. She had a passport, which we have a picture of. We took a picture of the passport. So she had a passport. She had a bank account on the same day that she signed the contracts, on that Saturday. So there was no need for Shaun to be the beneficiary of the GoFundMe when she had her own bank account, and she had a passport. So from somebody that was supposed to be trafficked, she's got everything she needs to escape out of the country. Why come to Guildford and start your adult work and put yourself about and start advertising? It's only a matter of time. It's just a big load of bollocks.
Yeah.
And it seems like from the get-go, the only thing that I can make out is that in the beginning something must have happened and they've told a lie, and now it's just spiraled out of control, and now it's just like this big massive fucking snowball about to come down and collapse into pieces, because it's just bullshit after bullshit. That's what I've heard coming out of Atwood's mouth, and that's been coming out of Cali's mouth the whole time. She 100%. Can't be trusted. She can't be believed. She's full of shit. Yeah. She's not a victim. She's a predator. She preys. She's a scammer. So
100%. I mean, this person that I briefly mentioned that, got close to us, and we trusted this person, and now we find out this person is either crazy or working directly for Atwood. It's hard to tell. But the reason I caught her tripping last night was because, like you just mentioned, there are so many fucking lies going on that they can't keep up with them. And so they don't even realize that they just get busted lying. The example, this person last night, she was trying to act, she plays different voices. It's so weird. But she says she tried to come on saying COVID. And then 2 minutes later, she says COVID. I'm like, wait a minute. You just said COVID. What is it? And she started stuttering. She didn't know. And that's the whole thing. These people lie, and it's just a giant ball of shit lies. And it's unraveling little by little. And so this is one of the reasons why, I can't thank you enough for doing part 2. We're trying to keep the spotlight on this.
Yeah.
And then I have my buddy Brian Harvey covering it as well. He put it on his channel, and that's all we can do, unfortunately. But I get sick of these people. You see them on TV with their smiles, like everything is okay, and we're out here doing good. But when you look deeper, it's just nothing but bullshit and lies all over.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
Matt
hypocrisy.
Hancock. Matt Hancock, perfect. Yeah, he's a bullshitter. He works for the government. But yeah, so Atwood is it astounds me that he's got all of these followers when he's been caught doing he's against abuse and rape and this and that, but yet he's gonna let somebody who's been trafficked and who's been raped and who's been abused suck his cock whilst on cocaine, smoking spliffs and getting drunk.
Yeah.
So it's just like, no, you're a twisted bastard and you're pointing the finger at everybody else so they don't come looking at you, because it's easier to keep the attention on other people, rather. So I'd just like to know. I'm intrigued. I'd really like to know what the whole deal is and what use she was to him, how it come about, and what he really is fucking up to.
Right. Now, and that's what we're trying to. It's not. I've never said this is me or myself at all. A big thank you, to Craig. He's the one that got us in touch, and then, the mods and Chancer. It's been a huge team effort, and we are still putting pieces together. It's just a giant jigsaw puzzle. And just when you think you have solved one mystery, it sometimes leads you to a dead end, and it's starting from scratch, and then something else pops up and it sends you into a different direction. It's been a giant headache, and I can't, to be quite honest, I just can't wait to move past this freaking nonsense. But
You've put so much effort in. You've got to keep digging, really, because there's something. He's up to no good. Look, Daddy Gate explained it all, didn't it? It just put it out there. So there's a lot more than that going on. You know.
Right, 100%. Now, I wanted to recap a little bit of our last thing, and also go over any new information or developments. But when we spoke, you did mention that Cali did show some form of ID, right, when she came in with Shaun?
Yeah. We've got a passport. We've got a picture of a passport.
That is important because
of her passport. So we've got transactions. She done a bank transaction, a back payment. Because Matt didn't want it in money. He didn't want it all in cash. And she done a back transfer, and we gave that back to her just to get rid of her. And she must have known that something was going to happen to fuck off so quickly without a fuck. Because it all makes sense now. She just wanted the money. Whereas before she was piping up about solicitors knowing her rights, and all of this bullshit. And then it just come to the crunch and she just wanted money to go. So she must have known that she was looking at a prison sentence and she couldn't long it out for much longer, because she was like, right, I'll sit here until July then. Well, no, you fucking won't. But yeah, this court thing was hanging over her. So she thought, I better get something out of it. So we transferred $12.50 back to her. Right. Well, actually, we didn't. We done it in 2 payments because she was dicking us about over Christmas. We were thinking, yeah, around the 22nd of December, this is it. But no, you know what she's like. You've had enough involvement with her to know that she's just a messer. And, and she just likes to play games. So yeah, we paid her in 2 installments.
Right.
But yeah, we've got a picture of her mugshot on her passport, because we took ID, didn't we? We wanted to. I just wish that it hadn't been. It was pushed quite a lot their side. It had to be done. Do you know what I mean? And Atwood's like, this is the best flat we've seen. We're going on to look at another one, but we really like this one, and he's got the gift of the gab. So yeah, Matt let her move in, and then as soon as we signed the contracts, I come away just thinking, no, she's no good. You could see just by the state of her that she was taking substances, and that she hadn't had any sleep. She looked like she needed a good bath.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting information. Now, do you remember I forwarded you Shaun Atwood's official statements, which he sent to us the following day after we last spoke?
Yeah.
What did you make out of that statement? He's basically saying that everything you were saying was not true, and he tried to distance himself, if I remember correctly, from Cali, basically saying what Cali did there is her problem. My hands are washed,
Yeah.
And what did you make of it? Do you remember what you thought about that goofy, silly statement?
Yeah, I just thought bullshit. I just thought you are, you were the one that was putting words into it. She hasn't got the intelligence to be coming back with some of the comebacks and texts that we received. So obviously that was all Atwood, because she hasn't got the intelligence. Like, I found her diary. She probably is dyslexic. And what she was coming back with, it's just like, we knew Atwood was the mastermind behind it. You've only got to take one look to know. So I thought bullshit, because Atwood said he's sorry for any anxiety or whatever that was caused to us. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it.
Right.
Bullshit. You thought that she was going to be your little earner. I think that, I personally, from everything that's come out, I just think that he likes cool girls. He likes strippers. That's, she's right up his street. And I think that because of her vulnerability, and because she probably she knows her way around street life, basically, she can hustle. I think that she would have come in very handy to him, except for, like, I think the drugs came into it, and then the videotape got leaked, and all these fucking far out stories she's blurting on about, and he's just sitting there going, yeah, nodding his head. And I'm thinking, who in your fucking right mind is going to sit there and agree with her? Who's even going to interview her?
Yeah.
She's fucking talking shit. I mean, there's no sincerity there at all.
Not just a giant orchestrated shit show.
Yes.
You're talking about the call girls.
Fantasist.
Well, that's the thing. I've said this many times. If call girls are his thing and doing coke, I don't care. The problem is it's a fake image that he portrays.
That's it.
On his show, it's completely fake. It's a facade. And one of the fears that I did have was Shaun has a knack for, or one of his little strategies is to butter people up that are ready to speak out against him.
Yeah.
That's what he does. There's a guy named Yami that was saying some things, about Atwood, calling him a scumbag and this and that. He was due to talk some more about him. And, a few days later, Shaun takes him out to dinner. Then a few days later, this Yami guy says, oh, Shaun is a great guy, awesome, straight up guy. And he's actually trying to do that with my buddy Brian Harvey. He's trying to get him to come on to his show and offering him a dinner. And Brian is putting his foot down and said, you know what, I will talk to you, but you need to come to my house.
Yeah.
I'm going to use my cameras. You are not going to bring your camera crew. Your camera crew is not welcome here. And Brian is doing the smart thing. He goes, I'll talk to you, but it's going to be under my terms so that you can't edit this part out or you can't edit that part out. And I think it's completely fair. Let's see what Shaun decides to do. But one of my fears was that Shaun was going to try to reach out to you after our conversation and try to do his little tactic, try his tactic on you. And I try to give you a heads up, and I remember you telling me, you know what, fuck Shaun.
Yeah.
Did he try to make any contact to you?
No, he didn't. He didn't try and make any contact, and it would have been a pointless exercise because we haven't got time for him. And I think out of the pair of them, he is the one that we have got the biggest problem with, I think, because he's put her there. And he knew that they weren't intending on paying the rent. He knew that there were going to be capers in that flat, and that perhaps he didn't know that. Perhaps he thought that she could probably keep a lid on it. But whatever plans he had for her in that flat, she can't control herself. And she needs to have somebody, a responsible adult, if you like, with her to keep her behaving, basically. So as soon as Shaun was out of the picture or doing other stuff, because his friend died around that time when it started to get quite crazy as well.
Right. It's gosh, so many angles to come about it. Let's see. Has any other information, or any interesting evidence come out since we last spoke?
No, and we thought that the police might contact us again, because obviously they were contacting us about Cali's welfare, and that was probably down to her bail conditions, actually, because that must have been a bail address for her. If she's got a court case outstanding, she'll have to have a bail address. So that's probably why they were contacting us, to see whether she had broken her bail conditions or what, now that I look back on it. But no, I haven't heard anything. I thought that she was going, because I don't recall where I heard it, but I thought that she had a court case hanging over her for possession of Class A cocaine with intent to supply.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't know any of this.
Why?
About the death by dangerous driving.
Right. Yeah, it's gigantic. And what I'm doing is I received some CCTV footage from an unnamed source. We'll just
yeah.
We will not name this source, but I'm playing as we speak. I'm playing some of the CCTV footage. This was skimmed over, and sent over by an unnamed person. One of these footages shows what is believed to be Shaun Atwood in a BMW dropping off Cali. Is that the same car that when you met Shaun Atwood? Is that the same car he rolled in?
That's the car. So that was on the 14th of the 1st. So basically, what happened, he had said, so we done our interview, and he said that he hadn't seen Cali or something.
Yeah.
or he hadn't had contact with her, or you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Right.
And then, obviously, on the 14th of January, he dropped her off. He stayed for 4 minutes and then cleared off. And then that was the last time he was at the flat. But he was changing the locks, and he changed the locks when she said she wasn't there. She was seeing her mum, and Matt and his business partner went round there in surgical COVID masks, and she said they were the 2 masked men. And since then, apparently, she said that they dragged her out of bed and made her sniff cocaine or something. All sorts of shit she's been spouting.
None of it makes sense.
Oh, and apparently saying that the CPS have decided to press charges.
Yeah.
I think we've seen that, but how can the CPS press charges when no arrests have been made? Nobody's spoken to us about entering the flat with COVID masks. Yeah, so obviously she didn't report that to the police, because the police were knocking on the door because of all the antisocial behaviour.
Right.
So she was hiding in there because there were 22 antisocial behaviour reports to the police.
Mm. Yeah. You know, did you catch... So, after we did our last interview, Cali called in, and she was drunk as hell, which made it funny because she claimed at the very beginning of that conversation that she doesn't drink. And then, towards the end of that conversation, she said, "Oh, I'm just drunk right now." You know, so she ended up contradicting herself, kind of like
all the
Heather
time.
Turner. But did you listen to that conversation she had with me?
No, I
Okay.
haven't heard it.
Well,
no.
when she called me, well, she was bitching and moaning that she wanted to call in. I didn't really want to talk to her, but I said, fuck it, let's hear what she has to say. And it was a good thing that I did have her call in, because as soon as she picked up, you can see a crowd of, and you know what? It was like 1 o'clock in the morning over in the UK. Okay, 1 o'clock in the morning, and there was a lot of people. There was a party going on, and immediately, what ran through my head was our conversation that we had a couple hours, where you said the house is pretty much a party house, a drug house, all kinds of shit going on at all hours of the day and night.
Yeah.
And so when I heard that, and you know, the thing is, Cali had her video camera on. You did not see it on the computer screen, but I could see her, and she was trying to she immediately pointed the camera down, but it was too late. I saw everyone partying in the house, drinking, and who knows what else was going on there. She decided to talk to me. She stepped out of the house, and you can hear the music in the background. Just the party atmosphere at 1 o'clock in the morning. So you were talking about this antisocial rules being broken. She was doing it there that night, you know, during that live stream we had. It's mind-boggling, you know. Just caught on the act.
I just really like to know how it all evolved. Really, how her and Atwood, you know, got to meet one another, and what use was she to him. And I'd really like to know, because I think they've both got each other by the bollocks, because otherwise something would be said by now. You know, Atwood would have just blown her out completely and distanced himself.
Right.
Or Cali would have started divulging everything that's gone on between them. Because I heard when, you know, I listened to her come on to speak to you a long while ago, and she was talking, it was vile, like she was saying that Shaun likes to have his ass fucked by a black dildo called Derek.
Yeah.
And his dad's called Derek, and all this stuff. It was just really sick. So I listened because I thought, oh, is this the time? You know, because she's not going to keep her mouth shut forever. And I thought, is this going to be it? But unfortunately, she was playing games again as usual.
Well, all these other characters were, like I said, we've been trying to connect the dots, trying to make sense, and the more we think we're getting closer to the truth, it just leads us to dead ends, and you find out people that were out there trying to help expose them are in cahoots with Shaun, saying, "Oh, I was never after you, Shaun. I'm your buddy," and instead they've tried to attack myself and and Chancer and whatnot. So much nonsense. It's unbelievable. If more people were interested in this, I mean, it would definitely be stuff for movies. But
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no one really gives a shit about this character. So I don't know how much interest there would be for that. But just the amount of just slime bag stuff, sleazy stuff all around.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting. It's frustrating, from my point of
is.
view, trying to
Very
get to the bottom of it.
frustrating.
Yeah, just trying to sort it all out with all the help that I've got for sure. It's really frustrating, but I can see from an outsider looking in, it's really fascinating, interesting.
Yeah,
No question.
I'd love to know how it all come about, because but you'd never know the truth though, would you? Because half of the shit that Shaun writes in his book is fiction, and half of the shit that rolls off Callie's tongue is bullshit. So it's like, well, what do you believe anyway?
Yeah.
Without the proof, because they just lie. They live. Shaun definitely lives a double life, 100%. But keep pointing the finger at everybody else.
Yeah.
What's he trying to cover up for himself? Because the publicity that he had over that Daddygate, I just think that is enough. If you want to do all that kinky stuff, by all means do it. Each to their own. But when you're doing a GoFundMe page for a girl that's been trafficked and a girl that's been abused, and then you sniff cocaine with her, or flour, as you say it was, smoke weed, drink alcohol, and get her to relive her abuse. Well, I don't think that many abusers get their 4-year-old victims to do cocaine, smoke weed, and drink. They don't have capacity to say no, that there is an adult that is abusing that child. So when he said about, we were reliving her abuse, and I was wrong in doing so.
Yeah.
I don't think she was abused. And at the age of 4, I don't even think that she would remember much about the abuse. And why was there drink, cocaine, and cannabis involved? It's just bullshit. And for what he stands for as an activist, a YouTuber and an activist and all this shit, he's just gone right against everything he stands for by doing that. And I just think that at that point alone, I would have, for any of his fans, I would have thought, fuck this, this is bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
Well, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I am one of those former fans that as soon as I got wind of this, I said, fuck this. This isn't right. Like we've already stated many times already, that's one thing. If that's your kink, that's your fetishes, you like giant dildos named after your dad shoved up your ass, that's whatever. So be it. But don't get on TV acting like you're fighting for these abuse victims, and you're exposing pedophiles, as he likes to say a lot. It's all bullshit. And that's what irritates me the most out of all this shit. He just can't come clean about it, and it's a giant joke to him, and it's disgusting. I don't see what the humor is in all this shit.
No, I don't. I just think it's vile. I think she's vile, and I just think that it's disgusting that she keeps banging on about being abused, and that she's a sex worker and wants to coach young women. It's just like, no, you're toxic, and I wouldn't want you anywhere near
Right.
any young women I know.
How do you feel about Shaun going to schools and lectures, knowing what you know now? How do you feel about
I think it's
about that?
disgusting. I think it's absolutely disgusting, and I think, well, I don't think he should be allowed. And I think that what is he thinking when he is looking at those girls in their school uniforms after making some prostitute dress up as a schoolgirl and call him daddy?
Right.
I wouldn't trust him with a fucking barge pole, and I just think it's wrong on every level.
That's exactly. So I did a podcast last week with Maria Clark. I think she's in the live chat, but she's a professional pedophile hunter. And I asked her that last night. I spoke with her last night again, and I asked her, "How do you feel about this guy that's out there exposing nonsense and whatnot? Doing good work, and yet he makes a prank dressing this allegedly trafficked woman as a little girl, calling him daddy. How do you feel about it?" And she said the same thing. It's bullshit. You can't. It's hypocritical on every single level.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And the drugs and everything.
Right,
those the ages of the children he's going into, they are growing into young men and young women. They're adolescents, very impressionable, at such a crossroads in their life, going one way or the other sort of thing. I know it was for me when I was a kid. By my daughter's age, I was smoking weed, drinking, and probably taking amphetamine, and she's 13. My daughter has never smoked, never drank, and lives a sheltered life, which which I'm so proud of her, that she hasn't. There are some kids her age that smoke, but she doesn't surround herself with those people. She doesn't attract those sort of people, whereas I did when I was younger. But I think that was a lot from my upbringing, and I've done my very best in making sure that my daughter has a different upbringing to the one that I had. But they are of an impressionable age. And when you see Atwood giving his books out to kids, why do they want to read about real crime? Why do they making him, because you are going to get these kids that think they're little G's, and, they want to sell drugs because they think it's going to make them hard. And there are plenty of little gangs around here. So they're reading his book. And the kids with that mentality, they're going to look up to him for the wrong reasons. So he stood there and talked about nonces, making them aware, doing this, doing that. And then he's handed them a book of when he was in jail after being a drug ecstasy distributor. So some kids are going to think, gosh, he's he's a boy, I'd like to be like him. And other kids won't listen to him, or but there are some that are very impressionable and would be quite impressed by the fact that he used to sell lots of ecstasy, and he used to sleep with prostitutes, and he had all these hard men around him. Some kids would be impressed by that. I wouldn't want him speaking to my children in a school.
Right.
No way. Or my nephews.
Yeah, it's just not. I mean, a child's mind is very tender, and they absorb everything. And if they're absorbing the wrong thing, how does that help their growth? It's going to affect them in a negative way. They're going to want to emulate this negative bullshit. And Craig, our good friend that definitely got us connected.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's awesome. Shout out to Craig the Bloodhound. But he mentioned that apparently Shaun gave his number to, he was giving his cell phone number to some kids. You know, he would give a school talk and then told the teenagers, "Hey, if you guys have any questions, give me a call." Who does that? Maybe,
No.
and I'm not accusing that he had bad intentions. I'm not saying that at all. But as an adult, as a stranger, who the hell does that?
No one.
No one. It's so fucking weird and on every level.
Why? And why, those books that he's handing out, if that was a film, that would be an 18. So why is he going into a secondary school and handing out books about drugs, violence and sex? It's just bollocks, really. I just don't get it. What's he been up to lately? I mean, I haven't.
Yeah, I don't.
He?
I stopped watching him a long time ago. Every now and then, some of my subscribers, or they still watch him. I don't know how they do it. I just can't watch him. I hear him talk, and knowing that it's all fake, I can't do it.
You can tell by his body language, his eyes. He's just full of shit. And with when you see him interviewing Cali, where she's like, he's sticking questions on her, and she hasn't got the intelligence to answer them because she hasn't been through that experience. That's why she can't answer them. And he's then sort of coercing her and telling her, finishing off her sentences, and then she always resorts to saying she's either Asperger's or autistic. It's just bullshit. Just taking her, being associated with her, he was playing social media suicide anyway, wasn't he, really, just for having anything to do with her? That's who wants to be associated with somebody like that?
It's a good question.
Well, he wasn't helping her, was he?
No.
He wasn't helping her.
It was all he was just using her, but she, for whatever reason, was in denial about it for the longest time. She likes to say that she's smart and intelligent, and many people were telling her, "You're being used right now." But I think she kind of liked it. She may have enjoyed the attention at the time, even though it was negative attention. I think she was reveling in it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and I don't know. We all have different mind processes, so I have no idea. I know for a fact if I was in those shoes, I wouldn't be messing with that kind of shit.
No way.
No way. And Shaun is what, in his 50s? But he's acting
53, isn't he?
He's acting like he's in his late teens, early 20s, living the high life, living la vida loca.
Do you think he's having a midlife crisis?
I don't know. He's such a... I don't know if you've caught on, but like I said, a lot of the stuff that he does or on his show, and people that are around me, subscribers and whatnot, friends, they send me the messages or links or tell me, look, at this part of the video, he's talking about you and Chancer, blah, blah, blah. A couple weeks ago, he was, and he's always saying that Chancer and I are hired by these black ops to bring him down. That's his best excuse for all this shit. It's pathetic, but apparently that's what he's sticking by. But the other thing is he started his show, it's like he's enjoying it. It's almost like if I was in his shoe and he had someone like myself or Chancer after his ass, every move and everything, I would probably be shitting my pants. But it almost seems like he enjoys it. A couple weeks ago, someone sent me a link where he opened the show saying, "Hey, motherfuckers, welcome to the motherfucking, Shaun Atwood stream." He never says that. He obviously was trying to make fun of me, by doing it. And he does that so often. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think he fully gives a shit, to be honest. I think it's a big joke to him. and what kind of mind processes are flowing, or what's going on in that noggin of his, I have no idea.
Well, is it, is it that he's had a relapse and he's fucked and he's just thinks fuck it, or or is it like he's a child that even negative attention is attention, so
Right.
as long as he's getting the attention,
Well, I
then
think
he doesn't give a fuck.
it could be a combination of the two, of the last things you said. I do think it's very likely that he's using again. That's the other thing about him. He likes to portray himself as an ex-drug user. He's a reformed criminal, blah, blah, blah. But some of the interactions he's had with myself and Chancer during live streams, he hasn't appeared on my live streams in ages. He may be listening right now, so fuck you, Shaun. But he used to pop in on the live streams and just say some of the most ridiculous things. He said that Chancer is just jealous of him because he just winks at the thought of Cali and Shaun on his couch. Stuff that is completely.
God.
This is why I think he was still using cocaine. He was saying shit that is completely out of character, and so either that's just him in real life, or he was using and he didn't give a shit and his filter was off. And so,
Oh man, who's going to get the horn over watching those two? Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like, fuck's sake.
Well, of course, we were all over that. We screenshotted it, and
Oh,
Chancer made a
Jesus.
video regarding it, and he tried to go back and delete those comments he left.
Too late.
It was already too late. We screenshotted the shit out of that. But he even accused one of the most weird things that kind of got Brian Harvey pissed off was he came into our channels and leaving comments saying that Brian Harvey was impersonating him with Cali. He was trying to deny the whole daddy video and had the audacity to say that Brian Harvey was impersonating him. What a fucking joker. And this is what I mean. And I'm sure when he wrote that, he was probably high on flour, self-raising flour, as he likes
Of
to
course,
say.
yeah. He's what does he actually think of himself? He's a fucking idiot. Like, why he puts himself up there on a pedestal? It frustrates me because he's an old man. Like, grow old gracefully, keep your fucking nut down, stop being a pervert, and fucking go into retirement or do something useful.
Right, 100%. And I know we're coming up on an hour. I think we said 30 minutes, so I'm sorry about that. I should have been keeping
That's all right.
an eye on the clock. To wrap things up, I mean, is there anything that you would like to, say? Because we know Shaun is listening. He obviously listened in and gave us an official statement. So what would you like to tell Shaun?
Well, nothing really. He knew what he was doing when he put her in the flat, 100%. And I don't buy the bullshit that he was helping her at all. I don't really have fuck all to say to him. He means nothing to me. I would just fucking get real and stop. Stop bullshitting. Be who you are. Admit who you are. Stop fucking lying.
Right. Well, and I don't know if I asked you this, and I just want to make sure I get it on. Ask you this question: when you received that letter where Cali was supposedly going to be hired by Atwood and be employed, what do you make about that bogus ass letter from a defunct company?
So we thought that because, and this was purely just us thinking, because Atwood had everything in his briefcase, so Cali came along in leggings that had divorced her ankles and married her knees. I don't know if they were supposed to be up by her shins, but these leggings, this oversized jumper, she just did. She looked like a state. She did, and Shaun was suited and booted in his little three-piece, and he had everything, and he was very matter of fact and stuff. So I know that he arranged for all the fraudulent documents, because to look at her, she didn't have it in her. So he arranged all the fraudulent documents. He sorted it out. And for somebody that, you know, he said that local authorities contacted him to take care of her. Bullshit. There's Mulberry House at the top of Guildford that specialises in women with trauma, women with drug addiction, and they take them under their wing, and it's a lovely little setup up there, and I'm sure that they would have had space for her, especially being in the height of the pandemic, because loads of the other hotels were open in Guildford where the homeless were, so she would have got taken care of. I don't know why they would have contacted a man, and I think that he knows full well that she was going in there to earn money. I don't know why the GoFundMe, where he was the beneficiary, well, he, you know, not the beneficiary, but it was attached to his bank account, wasn't it, or something, because she didn't have one. She did have a bank account. Last August, July, she had a passport also. Actually, I could look, I don't know the date on the passport, the issue date, but I've got a picture of it at home. So, yeah, I don't know how long she's had the passport for, but she had a passport and she had a bank account. Yeah, and all the other stuff was obviously fraudulent. We even spoke to this guy who was from the West Country, apparently her ex-landlord, who she had obviously got one of her friends or something to vouch for her. Because I just think she leaves destruction wherever she goes. I just think she just leaves a trail of horror, destruction, and just leaves people with anxiety and, you know, like not being able to, you lose your faith in humanity. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
when you come across people like that, and we've had so many nice people there, and her neighbours in that block would have bent over backwards to help her had she made a different impression. So she just fucks things up as she goes, doesn't learn any lessons, and chooses to be that way. So I wouldn't have any sympathy for her at all. And there's more to it with Atwood getting in touch with her, you know, a bit having her around him, because she must have been quite a valuable asset to him for him to be that invested in her.
Yeah. I think it was just damage control for the most part, trying to, you know,
yeah,
trying to
damage
keep control.
Limitation.
Yeah, trying to keep, you know, a lid on all this getting out.
Yeah, so since she's been arrested, since we've heard, and we don't know if it's the truth, that like this whole death by dangerous driving, which, you know, if that is true, obviously you feel for the victim's family, and like look at Cali and how brazen she is. Look at how brazen she is on YouTube. Look at how brazen she is. You know, when she's spouting off and she's saying that she's a victim. I cannot believe that somebody who has killed somebody through reckless driving has the audacity to play the victim in such a way, and to just be so publicly out there when they've taken a life. If that is the truth, if she has taken a life, I just think that's absolutely, I think it's an absolute piss take. Yeah. If that is the case, and she has killed somebody by reckless driving, how can she put herself out to be the victim? Poor me. No.
What about the person
think of the fucking
that died?
family?
Yeah,
the family.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it becomes a big joke when you look at it that way, and I think a lot of people forget that aspect of it. I mean, at the end of the day, no one's talking about this person that is no
No.
longer with us.
No.
Instead, we're talking about this whole bullshit over here, and
Yeah.
some people have suggested that maybe that was part of the whole distraction. Blow all this whole thing up and have fun with it online and all this, and try to cover up the fact of some very serious things, allegations going on. A
Yeah.
person's life was lost, and no one is
Yeah.
talking about it.
100%. And she's on there playing the victim, which really just pisses me off, because somebody has lost a family member,
Right.
be brother, dad, sister, mum, auntie, uncle, niece, whatever, over her, and her behavior hasn't changed. Like,
Right.
if that did happen, she has not learnt not one thing from what she has done, because her behavior is still reckless. Her behavior is still unmanageable, and I think somebody said to me, she is the master of her own disaster. You don't have to do anything, just watch her life unfold. And I think that's exactly right. She is the master of her own disaster, and she'll probably be found in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah, at that pace, the choices we make in life, they have consequences, good or bad.
Yeah.
And so
What you
you
give
keep
out, you
making
get
those
back.
wrong choices in life. I mean, real bad stuff can happen. So she needs to shape up, and quick, because it's not a good path for 100%. Now, before I let you
Yeah.
go,
Just
how do you? So you did touch on the 22 complaints, with the police.
Yeah.
Were all the neighbors, in the flat? I can't imagine anyone being happy. I'm sure.
no one.
Okay.
The Greek lady down below was actually gonna smack her, because she was just wild. She was wild through lack of sleep. Directly below, hadn't slept for 3 nights, works really hard, single mum, and quite a fiery temper, a Greek lady. And one of the other guys had to stand in between, just where, and then she was just so dismissive. And I just think, who do you actually think you are?
Yeah. No, it's I did. I messaged you, when was it? About a week ago, and I showed you a screenshot of a neighbor, someone that was claiming to be a neighbor of Cali's, and a friend of yours as well.
Yeah.
And I remember asking you if if they would mind coming on. Have you spoken with them, or?
Yeah, I have actually, and the next couple of days, because he did say, oh yeah, I'm up for that, but then I've been at work. I've been at work today as well, and what with Matt hurting himself, it has been a bit up in the air. But yeah, he'll come on.
That would be awesome
Yeah.
to hear. A neighbor
Yeah.
first-hand experience, their daily interactions. What do they see? All that stuff. I think it would be awesome to get out there. So if you can do that, and set them up with me, I would truly appreciate you. And this would keep the ball rolling, keep the spotlight on them.
Yeah.
I know they are wanting to sweep this whole thing under the rug and just move on, but it's not going to happen.
No.
Too much bullshit has happened. Too many.
Yeah, people need to know the fucking truth, and
Yeah.
and he needs to put his hands up and say, I fucked up. I've relapsed, and I'm, you know, into kinky sex, and I'm setting up all these GoFundMe pages to fund my habit and whatnot, or whatever, you know. I don't know what his game is. If only we did know. Yeah, but yeah, he'll definitely be up for coming on. So if we leave it there, and we'll touch base over the next few days.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Miss Chrissy, thank you so much. I know it's been a trying time the last few weeks.
Yeah.
A lot of personal stuff has gone on, and life just happening. So
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for definitely coming on again. It was another enlightening conversation. And, you know, we had almost 300 people tuned in the entire time. So
Oh, good.
yeah, pretty awesome. And by you know, same thing as what happened the first time around. You know, by the end of the week, especially with other people sharing the video, I think it's been shared over 20,000 times when you combined different channels sharing it and whatnot. 20,000 is a lot of people. So
Yeah.
you know,
That's good.
and
We'll
so
keep hammering away.
yeah, everyone tuned in right now, share this on your social medias, share it on your Twitters. We need to keep the ball rolling, the spotlight. This will not be swept under the rug at the end of the day. So
No.
Miss Chrissy, thank you so much, and we are definitely going to stay in touch. You know, so anything that we find out, I will send it your way, and if you want us to talk about it, yeah, vice versa, we will definitely get it going.
Okay, lovely. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. The pleasure was absolutely ours, mine's and the viewers. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Miss
Take
Chrissy.
care.
Good evening. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
I've announced on the channel that I took advantage of a traffic vulnerable person reenacting this, and it made them relive it, and it probably traumatized that person. I completely agree with that. Shouldn't have done it. I took advantage. I took Shouldn't have done it. I took advantage. Shouldn't have done it.